my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling and welcome back to the channel. Today we're reacting to episode 2 of series 1 of Vinland Saga, and I'm not going to delve too much into my previous discussions because I will be repeating myself, which is essentially, I think Thorfinn's dad's going to die and he's going to go on a revenge mission, and I think the past is going to catch up with Thor's and we're going to see maybe someone out for blood based on the battle that he ran away from. We don't know too much other than that, and we had some world building in terms of Vinland is this place that people have ventured to. It is not as cold, it is fertile land. It's sort of become this dream pursuit for those that want to leave the cold of Scandinavia because they left Norway because of King Harald and his tyranny. So they are now far, far north in Iceland, I believe. So we'll possibly see them start to venture to Vinland, but I think that will be if Thorfinn goes on his revenge arc. I don't think the dad's going to live much longer. I just have this vibe based on how nice and kind he's being and the life lessons he's trying to teach his son. It just screams, dad's going to die soon, and therefore I'm going to leave you with these philosophical dilemmas that you need to wrestle with and understand whilst also being consumed with rage and anger. That's the vibe I'm getting, especially with how like stubborn and hot-headed Thorfinn seems. He is a child, so it could change as he gets older, but I don't know. I just feel like the way that the father is with Thorfinn is paving the way for like a psychological conflict within himself between showing mercy and forgiveness and empathy and violence, rage, and this need for revenge. Without further ado, though, we're going to get into episode 2 because there's not really much I can talk about because I talked a lot in my first episode and this is only the second episode. So we haven't really seen much in terms of the direction. We've seen little hints that make me think it's a revenge story, but I could be massively off, in all honesty. So we're going to get into episode 2. Oh, are we delving into the takeover of England as well? So they snuck up to slaughter them. Crazy. Fun fact for you, the reason why so many people in Britain and Ireland are related to the Norse is because they were very cleanly and they took good care of themselves. So the women in Britain and Ireland were obviously like, yes, please, and had children. So yeah, that is one of the reasons why a lot of people here can be linked to the Norse and other Scandinavian countries. For the most part, it was women deciding to choose Norse men as their partners because they were very cleanly and hygienic and took good care of themselves in comparison, apparently, to the English, which is why they decided that they would rather be with the Norse invaders than their own men. Oh, wow. Okay. Brutal. They're all so cute. The little war training.
もうなんでいつもすぐにやられちゃうんだろう。死体は喋っちゃダメだ、トロフィー。天国にあるバルハラでは毎日お肉が食べられるからね。強い戦士じゃないとバルハラには入れないんだぞ。
Is this going to be his goal throughout his life, to be a strong warrior like his dad?
母上や姉上はいけるのかな、バルハラ。
I mean, if your sister becomes a shield maiden, but not his mother. His mother could reside with Freya. She had her own realm.
明日出発。いいないいな。今度どこ
I
行く
think
の？
Valhalla was you
俺
had to
さ、遊
die
びじゃないぞ。
courageously on the
商売
battlefield.
に行くんだ。
So it was like reserved for Odin's strongest warriors.
年末までにワインが欲しいんだよ。本国のみんなとイエス・キリストの誕生日をワインで祝うんだ。
Oh, so he's a Christian. Okay, so we're going to see the intermingling of Christianity with Norse mythology and the way that they're competing for dominance. Would be interesting.
軍船が来た。
Oh, fuck. It's the guy from the previous episode, isn't it? Hot damn. Daddy is fine.
今度は下がったろう。難しいもんだな。力を入れすぎなんだよ、トールズさん。
父
ここだ、トロフィー。
父上。また軍船が来たよ。すげえでかいやつ。
Oh, God. Oh, no. His past has come back to haunt him.
しかしありゃ半端な連中じゃねえな。ハーフ団たちみてえなゴロつきとは違うぜ。
No, they're warriors trained,
トールズさん。
battle hardened.
奴らこの村を攻める気じゃ。
ヨウムの戦士たちよ。私はここだ。まさかここまで探しに来るとはな。不老機。ノルウェー遠征以来になりますな。
Oh, it's his friend from the
よもやこのよう
first
な
battle.
地にお隠れと。
ヨウムの戦士たちって言ってたよな。お前知ってるか？さあ。
なんか父上怒ってる。
He wanted to be left in
入浴
peace.
の最中を狙っての奇襲だったということです。そしてその中にはデンマーク国王スベンの妹君グンヒルド様もいたとのこと。
He's being called to launch an attack, isn't he?
大きな戦が始まります。我ら戦士の出番です。
He doesn't want to be involved
ヨウ
though.
ム戦士団はデンマーク軍と連合します。北海の向こうで大国同士が何をしようと関わりはない。そうは参りません。我が首領シグバルディの命令は全艦隊ヨムスボルグに集結せよ。例外はない。お分かりかな？そのものがたとえ脱走兵といえどもね。
Yeah, he's seen as a traitor.
この度の戦。あなた
Either
に
join or
参
die.
戦するのです。この度のことは我が首領の恩情なのですよ。15年前行方不明になったあなたがこの度晴れて戦線に復帰する。
But he doesn't want to. No, there's going to be a price to pay though if he doesn't go.
軍船で来ることはあるまい。村の者が動揺している。
Because it's either he goes or the village is razed to the ground. Any money.
ましたな、あのトールズ殿が。
He has his orders. Bring
こ
him
の村が変えたのか。
one way or another.
で無縁だったのでしょうな。
Until today, which means war's coming to the village.
わざわざ海越えてトールズさんを誘いに来たんだぜ、あいつら。
Ah, these poor
すげえよ
kids.
お
They
前の
don't
親
know
父さんは。
what's about to happen
俺ら連れてってもらえるかな。
or how scary war truly is. They're just seeing it from young, idealistic eyes.
悪い。
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
私もね、子供の使いじゃないんですよ。あなたがこたびの戦に加わらぬとおっしゃるなら、私は使命を果たせぬし、我が狩猟の面目に
So they'll
潰れる。
kill everyone here. They'll wipe it out.
とても手ぶらでは帰れません。
トールズが昔ヨウムの戦士だったとはな。
強いんすか？
Yeah.
強い。あまりに強くてベンドランド王などは彼らから税金を取れないでいるほどさ。北海最強を自負する軍団だ。
撤収！
Is he going?
ああ。何今の？感じ悪いな。
It was weird.
助かったな、あれ。
私はヨウム戦士団の不老機だ。主命により勇者トールズ・スノーレソンに加勢を頼むためこの地へ参った。
勇者。
トールズ殿は我が狩猟の求めに応じられ軍船一隻の提供を約束なされた。我と思わん者はトールズ殿と共にヨムスボルグへ参られよ。
The only reason they haven't killed everyone is because he's agreed to go.
戦だ
No one really understands what he went through. He doesn't want to go back. Everyone's so excited and he's just so over it. What choice did he have?
昔人を殺すことで身を立てていた。
He wanted to live a better life.
ある日急に嫌になったんだ。死んだようにうまく見せかけたつもりだったんだがな。
Evidently not.
逃げればこの村が俺の代わりに報復される。ヨウムの掟は脱走者を許さない。自分のしてきたことにけじめをつける時が来たんだ。
You're not going. You're like 9.
トールズに頼まれたんだ。その軍船と船団を組むことにしたよ。
そうか、確かにその方が安全だ。いざって時は俺らが守ってやるからよ。
どいつも戦好きなことよ。
It's a chance to make a name for yourself in this society. Look how motivated he is compared to earlier. He was like, I don't. Whoa. He was like, I die so quick and I die so fast, and now he's like, nah, watch me. My dad's a hero, so I'm a hero. He really thinks he's going to war. He's not going anywhere.
折れてるな。子供の遊びにしちゃやりすぎだ。
Yeah, your son.
トルフィンがやったんだよ。あいつ最近ムカつくんだ。手加減しねえし、もう絶対仲間に入れてやんねえ。
本当か。うちの子が。それはすまなかった。よく言って聞かせる。
気にすんなよ。子供同士のことだ。でもまだ6つだろ。
Oh, 6. Okay, he's not like 9.
させると大したもんだよ。
That's not the point. He doesn't want his son to be a fighter. He wants his son to live a better life, a life of peace, not to have to resort to violence.
じいさまの代からの家宝の武具で存分に戦ってこい。
あれ
Oh.
おお、かっけえぞあれ。
All these young idealistic boys that are going to die. They see it as an adventure and are so excited, but they have no idea what horrors they're going to walk into.
もうあんたって子は何でもかんでも放りっぱなしにすんなよ。
He's gonna go in the chest, isn't he? His dad's
片付
gear.
けないと捨てちゃうよ。いいの？いい。もういらない。
He wants a real sword. Is he gonna accidentally kill someone with this sword?
僕には武器が必要なんだ。
You're not going. You're
あん
6.
たさては戦士になって父上の船に乗せてもらっちゃおうとか考えてる？
Oh no.
トルフィン？
He's gonna play around with it and he's gonna kill someone accidentally, isn't he? It's not a toy.
綺麗。
剣が欲しいか、トルフィン。剣は人を殺す道具だ。お前はこれで誰を殺すつもりなんだ。
敵。
Who's the enemy? He doesn't understand. He's too young.
お前に敵などいない。
You're 6.
誰にも敵などいないんだ。傷つけて良いものなどどこにもいない。
おかしいよそんなの。だっ
See,
て父上は
he's not
明日
gonna
戦に行くんでしょ。
understand what his father's
敵
trying
を
to say
殺
to
しに
him.
行くんでしょ。
Not by choice, he's
子供
doing
じゃ
it to
ない。
save the
父
village.
上は嘘を言ってる。
I think one day Thorfinn will get it, but today is not the day. He's so young. He just has idealistic views without fully understanding that war isn't something that you should be excited for.
あの子頼む。
That in an idealistic world there'll be no war, but unfortunately this world isn't that world. He has to do what is necessary to protect his family and his village. But it's not because he sees these people as enemies. He's able to recognize them as other people trying to live their lives too. He just wants to live in peace, man. He just wants his son to live in peace.
行くぞキリスト坊主。
Oh,
避けたら
God.
殺すぞ。あ、てめえ、避けたろ。今避けたろ。殺す、マジ殺す。
次は俺だ。
おい、ヨウムの兄さん方、あんたらも一杯やらねえか。
相変わらず
They're very
貴様の手下は
disciplined.
品がないな。アシェラット。
He doesn't care.
好かねえだけですよ。フローキーの旦那。
大きな変更はない。
They want a war. They want to see a proper
報酬は
battle,
金
right?
5ポンド。奴の死体と引き換えでなければ払わんぞ。奴の船と積み荷はお前たちの好きにしていい。
He's gonna kill Fours.
トールズを殺せ。
Ooh. Is it jealousy? It could be jealousy. Maybe because they're willing to forgive everything and allow him to come back because he's held in such high regard and he doesn't like that Fours can just come back and gain the respect and admiration that he's probably fought so hard for over the years. It's very strange that he's basically telling him to like wait here in the middle of nowhere to kill him when no one will see. So this is very calculated. I think it could be maybe jealousy and maybe anger that he just fled the battlefield and he feels betrayed. It's hard not to feel betrayed if your friend and fellow soldier just upped and left and faked his death and you found out that he's been living in this village for 15 years. You would be pretty pissed off. I have got some things right and some things not right, such as the past coming back to haunt him. But I think I did also say that it could be to do with him having deserted and them seeing him as a traitor. So I was like technically correct. And I was right about the chest being his past coming back to haunt him in terms of the weapons and the armor are what he's going to need to take to war, but also him attempting to teach his son that war is not something you should aspire to. It's not something you should be excited for, because in his mind, the world would be better without it. The world would be a kinder place if we all agree to sit down and understand one another rather than seek violence because of difference of religion or difference of ethnicity or difference of language. It's about attempting to find connection and to establish one's own life away from what is normalized and enforced. Within this society, war is so normalized because it's a way to expand territory. It's also a way to gain control. It's a way to gain resources and money and also to acquire slaves, but also to establish a foothold. The reason the Irish have so many people in our country with Norse ancestry or Scandinavian ancestry in general is because of the Norse strongholds, especially in Dublin. You know, when you set up a stronghold and you live there for so long, you become accustomed to the culture and the people there. And again, they were a lot more hygienic than the Anglo-Saxons in England. So a lot of women would have chosen Scandinavian men over the Anglo-Saxons, but even in Ireland, a lot of the women would have married in. Some would have married for political advantage. It would have been seen as a way to prevent the Vikings from attacking their families and their homesteads if they gave their daughters in marriage because it would tie them together. But a lot of the time, it was simply because they were there for so long that you just become accustomed to those around you and you begin to intermarry. It happens a lot, especially because the strongholds were held for so long. Of course, they were going to end up marrying, but it's just really fascinating that that ancestry is still so prevalent in Ireland. And I can trace my ancestry back to Norway, which is kind of cool, but I don't know much about it. I have French ancestry and Norse ancestry, but I really don't know much. All I can presume is that it was to do with the invasion of the British and Irish Isles by the Vikings. But either way, really, really fascinating show. And we're already beginning to see that psychological conflict in Thorfinn between what his father's attempting to tell him and what he wants to believe. He thinks he knows better, he thinks he understands the world, but he's 6 years old. And I feel like he's going to lose his father, and then that's going to make it all the harder for him to understand what his father was trying to say because there's not going to be anyone there to kind of guide him. And because there's no one there to guide him, he's going to kind of be wayward somewhat. He's not going to heed his father's words. He's not going to recognize what his father is trying to say to him. And he's going to be hell bent on avenging his father if Loki gets his own way and Thors dies, or is going to seek grand adventure and in doing so be willing to participate in wars and battles because he sees it as a heroic endeavor. And of course he sees it as a heroic endeavor because this whole concept of entering Valhalla, which is so highly praised, is by being a warrior. It is culturally implemented within. They're socialized as young children into wanting to be strong, powerful warriors because that's the only way they can achieve Valhalla. So they see it as an opportunity. They see it as a way to make a name for themselves, to gain riches and land. But also, even if they die, there's such a positive connection to the idea of dying on the battlefield that it's not seen as a fearful thing to them. It might when they actually face the battlefield, because at the minute they haven't been on the battlefield. They have solely heard about it and they have idealistic ideas because we're seeing the contrast between young men that have never been on the battlefield with Thors who has, and he knows what it's like and he doesn't want to go and he's not excited and he's withdrawn and desolate at the idea of having to go back, of having to see this violence and bloodshed once more. Whereas that is juxtapositioned with the younger men around him who have never really known battle, they have only ever known peace this far north, being super excited at the opportunity to leave the village to see new worlds around them, but also the fact that they can make a name for themselves in a way that they can't in this village because it is so isolated and so far north. So for them, it is an adventure, but they aren't aware of the horrors of what the battlefield can be. And I think we're going to see that psychological break in some of them when they realize what it is that they're being expected to do and what they have to face. Because dreaming about it and having idealistic ambitions of being a hero is so incredibly different to actually then being thrust onto the battlefield and seeing those that you have known and grown up with being killed before your eyes. It's going to cause a psychological shift in your perspective. And he doesn't want anyone to go through that, especially not his son, which is why he's trying to implement into his son that it is not weakness to be empathetic and it is not weakness to seek a life of peace away from violence, that you need to be better than those around you. He doesn't want his son to end up like him, having been forced into killing people for a living. He wants his son to have a life that he wished he could have had. He just wants to give him a peaceful existence. But unfortunately, it's going to be outside forces that prevent that from happening. Because if they kill him, as they're intending to do and plotting to do, Thorfinn is going to be thrust into avenging his father because it would be morally and culturally sanctified for him to avenge his father, and it would be expected of him to do that. So it's going to thrust him on this journey. And I wonder whether he knows that his father dies because somebody comes back and tells them what's happened. Like maybe somebody escapes and is able to come back and tell them, or maybe somebody takes over the village and gloats about what happened to him and is linked to Floki. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks as if he's going to be killed on the Faroe Islands unless they jump the gun and decide to come to the village and do it there. But he's heading to war and he has to go to the Faroe Islands first, and that's where the trap is waiting for him. Unless he doesn't die on the Faroe Islands and instead manages to escape and go back, but because it's seen as him deserting again, it's justified for them to ransack the village. I'm really enjoying this show so far. It's only 2 episodes in, but I can definitely see why people wanted me to watch this. There's a lot to discuss, a lot of symbolism happening, and also the philosophical dilemmas. So, yeah, I am glad that you all put the pressure on me to watch this. It is very good. Thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye.